So we are on the Gita chapter 3 and we read the verse number 33, and there Sri Krishna advised that people are forced by their own sanskaras, and even they know they cannot change that direction. So the 33rd verse we read, the people of even a wise person behave in conformity with his own nature and follow its own nature. What shall restrain will avail, means you want to control, you want to change, that restraint or control will not have any effect. So that's the point. That means we have to follow our own sanskara. What is saying that Arjuna, you have your sanskara, and that sanskara for the warrior or fighter. So you should fight for the just cause, right cause, and you cannot avoid this. So to run away from that is not within your nature. You will do the same fighting in another place. Your sanskara will force you, goad you. So he is given the example, we read that a plant grows taller and slender. Some plant is shrubby and stout. Some fruit taste sweet, some sour. The varying nature of the vegetation cannot be changed. You cannot change quite a juicy apple into a what you call it, a pear. So apple into pear, pear into apple. No, you cannot do that. It's nature. It's nature. It will all be what is inherent. It will manifest, and that sanskara is already built in. But we can change by our new thinking, new process of working. We can change the direction, but not totally. You cannot change. You cannot undo it. So that was the reason is given that one is introvert, another is of extrovert nature. A saint is giving a saint, even a saint. Saint is given, someone is a devotional expression, another sage will be of discrimination nature, no? Or always Vedanta, Atman, Brahman. Another will be say, love God, cry to God. So they are all sages, saintly people. So because according to the innate tendency, they will have to work. Therefore the yogi disciplines the mind while the man of action lovingly serves mankind. Yogi, they want to get themselves away from the activities of life and focus more inwardly in their sadhana. And the karma yogi will apply the whole day work, thinking that I am doing for God. So these are the tendencies are there. Each one will follow their tendency. So it is attaining perfection is the thread of unity in the midst of mental variations. So there is one underlying principle, that is they love God, and that expresses in different ways. So the earthly among men are bound fast to the things of mundane, and that's why they work and they behave differently. Obstructing their worldly ways avails nothing if someone is going in the path. That's why Holy Mother never changed anyone his way of changing. You do this, you don't do that, you know. Rarely you will find that Holy Mother is speaking to some of the disciple to do this and do that, change their nature. Rather, see, someone is saying, Mother, what shall I do? Shall I get married or not? Well, why not? Two eyes together, so 2 years, so why not get together? That means she is talking because Mother understood that is in his or her tendency. So let her progress or him progress through that way. And someone comes with renunciation mood. He said, yes, what is there, Baba, my child, what is there in the world? God is the only reality, and this and that. So apparent contradictory. No. Mother is looking at the sanskara and knows that that is the way he will or she will progress more faster progress. One is not a tendency of renunciation. If he gets into that life, it will be a miserable life for himself and also for others who live with them. And another person who is really dedicated to intense love for God and renunciation, he is put into that situation, his or her life will be miserable the opposite way. So that's why it is said, and inducing them to evolve in tune with their nature aids their growth. That's the point. What makes one grow more fast in their spiritual journey? According to one's own tendency. If he gets that support from not changing, I'm a bhakta, I have to change to a gyanopath, or a gyani, you have to be a bhaktapath. That does not work. I am a meditator, I must have to change into the gyanopath. It does not need to for the spiritual growth. So that was the advice in this verse. Even the gyanis, they knowing many things they do because they cannot stop. Duryodhana said, what can I know? I know what is good. Janami dharmam. I know what is righteousness, what is the path of dharma. Nashame pravitti. I have no inclination for that. I don't find any interest in that. Janami adharmam. I know what is bad, what is not to be followed by a honest person, but I cannot help. Therefore, he put the blame on Krishna. Therefore, oh Krishna, it is your fault. You are guiding in my heart and you are guiding me the direction I am going. Yes, if it is real, genuine expression, then there is a tremendous bhakti is involved into it. But we cannot change the direction of our own tendencies. Therefore, how to gradually move in that path, spiritual growth will be much faster. That is the intention. So, you be a warrior, you do fight, you do your righteous duty, and by that you will reach God faster than following the path of a mendicant. You want to be a monk, you want to beg from door to door and not to kill anyone. All this philosophy you are saying, that is not for your spiritual growth. Now, today we will be reading 34. Indriyasya indriyasarthe indriyasarthe raga desho vyavastito raga desho vyavastito tayorna vasama gachet tayorna vasam agachet tatto yaso paripantino te atto asso paripantino te hi asso paripantino. So indriyasya indriyasarthe. Indriyasya, these sense organs always have its object. It runs, eyes will run for the beauty, ear will run for the sound. So they are made for that. They are bhavastito, they will always run into that. So indriyo, the senses will run for its sense objects all the time. But tayurna vasama, but it forces, goads us. You want to see, don't see, eyes will run to see that. So, but we should not be controlled by them. But I should control whether I shall put my attention to seeing the thing or hearing the thing or not hear, not do, it will be my control. So what it says, the attachment and aversions of the senses for their respective objects are natural. You see something, there is an attachment, clingingness of the eyes with the object of the form, ears with the sound, nose with the smell, tongue with the food and taste, and touch. All these are connected. It always gets, it will run. You cannot stop it. Even a gyani or a ignorant person, all will be following the same attachment for these things. But we should not be a slave of them. That's why it says attachment and aversion. I like this, I don't like this. I want to see this, I don't want to see this. That means that are the reactions, natural reactions. Sense, object and senses are all connected, linked. It has been made that way. Eyes to see, ears to hear. So when you hear something, it may be pleasing, you may like it. If displeasing, you try to be away from that. So this will be natural. Even gyani or ignorant or person of knowledge, this will happen. But we should not be slave of that. I should take the control. So what I will do, I will attach to it or not. That should be my own choice. So let none come under their domination. They are verily their enemies. This attachment is the question. Senses will see the object, but whether I get attached or I feel dejected, that's my point. I should not be a slave of that. Senses going to the sense object is not fault, because that is the way of creation. But my attachment and aversion is the cause of my suffering. So I should have to cut from that direction. Tayorna vasama agachet. We should not be under their control. Agachet. Though, because this attachment and aversion, these two things are also paripanthino. It is contradictory, or it is an enemy in the path of spirituality. Therefore, what you have to do, then 35 verse says, Shreyan Sadharmo Biguna, Shreyan Swadharmo Bigunaha, Paro Dharmat Sanustitat, Paro Dharmat Sanustitat, Swadharme Nidhanang Shreyaha, Swadharme Nidhanang Shreya, Paro Dharmo Bhayavaho, Paro Dharma Bhayavaho. So one's own dharma, though imperfect, is better than the dharma of another well discharged. That means it may naturally, if I am inclined into one way, it will be easier for my journey to move in that direction. If I want to imbibe someone's characteristics, that will be difficult for me to follow that, because it is not in my nature. So here emphasis is what is the nature. One should follow one's own dharma, one's own tendencies, and though effort should be there to do their work perfectly, to meditate, you are a meditator, you meditate perfectly in your own tendency. If it is not perfectly done, you should not jump into change your course of journey. So for spiritual growth, we should take help of our tendency, and with that tendency try to do the best we can do. That's why in our Ramakrishna order you see some people, you see that some of the sadhus are not very effective in one place, but it goes to another place, it becomes most useful, because the tendency, what is in their tendency, innate power, it flourishes easily from that direction. Better death in one's own dharma. The dharma of another is full of fear. That means following the nature of others, man's nature, it will not create good to the person. That means all emphasis is coming to this point, that when you are a warrior, Arjuna, you should follow your dharma of the Kshatriya dharma, the warrior's dharma, the nature. It is better, and you die there with your fighting and doing for justice. There may be death, okay, that's also worth doing. But you have to follow the dharma of a mendicant. You are trying to follow the path of a meditator. That is not your path. Even if you try, you will not be successful ultimately. So it says that better death in one's own dharma, in your own tendency, you have your own path, you follow that, rather than try to change. It is because the society was best in those days. Mostly now we cannot understand very clearly. In early days, Kshatriya, they are born from the childhood, they are warriors by nature. Brahmin, from the childhood, they will be with the father, chant the mantras, know the puja, all these rituals. It is natural for them. Samskara is built from the childhood. A musician's family, you see the children, they learn music so easily. By that innate tendency is there, and they born. If you want to, in India it happened that you want to study physics, you will have to know. You want to study Sanskrit, then you will have to no. You read engineering, no, go for science and engineering. He is not fit for that path, and whole life he suffers for that. Forcing someone in which is not in the innate nature, that is destructive to the individual. But he can flourish in his own way. That's why in the early days this caste system, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they are so ordained that a potter's child will learn pottery so easily. A shoemaker's family, someone is born, they used to handmade shoes. Now a machine does all those things, but in early days it was different. They can do better shoes. That's why it is said that Swamiji in one place in the Karma Yoga place he did say, no, that a teacher, a professor can teach a subject in his class, no, but can he do the shoe shining as the shoe shiners do perfectly? So he has adapted it. It is his innate tendency, and he is made an efficient person in that field. So he cannot take your work, you cannot take his work. So who is great? Swamiji says each is great in his own place. So that idea, of course in US we don't go to think what is your tendency, what is your father did. It is all given freedom to understand that I can choose my path. But in early days, people were ingrained into this thought. That's why this idea is coming again and again. Why we are talking about my sadharma? What is my dharma? How do I know? How do I know I am an engineer? How do I know I am a history person? Or how do I know I am a philosophy person? No, your own tendency. So that can be the selection. We can do our selections now. In the time we are talking about, they were all ordained into that. The military boy will go to military. The Rajput, in the Rajputana you go, all the Rajput they are fighters, warriors, and their children will all be, even 10, 12 years boy will go for fighting. And it said the Rajput girls don't marry a boy who has no scar on his sword scar here and there. That means he wants a powerful person too. So because you are a warrior family, so you should have to have that power inside you. So that's why it is said here in Arjuna's case, because you are a warrior, because you have learned archery from your early childhood, and you excelled all, and you competed with everyone, and now you are a well-renowned warrior, and now you are saying that no, I will not fight, I will go for a forest life or retired life or beg the Brahminic life. No, that should not work. Better you die in your own attempt of fighting with just things, and rather than get away of your followed path. So Arjuna now, after hearing this, he says that what is let me read a little bit of the explanation given on page 259. The man's nature is to have recourse to what gives pleasure and to recoil from what gives pain. That's natural. We always go for which is easy, and we find immediately pleasurable path. And what is painful, we try to retreat back. Arjuna's temporary setback illustrates this position. From boyhood onward, he had been trained for the dharma of a ruler, and he was a warrior. He delighted in being trained that way because it was his own duty. Because he is born as a Brahmin, a Kshatriya, so it is his own duty. Swadharma, own dharma. The impending righteous war demanded his fighting against the revered grandsire, which he did not like. He even hated it. At this juncture, he preferred to be a recluse, subsisting on alms. Nothing good accrues to one by changing one's swadharma, prompted by fear or hatred. It is out of fear, out of hatred, to kill your own people, you don't want to fight, that is a retreat. That is not good. You are abandoning your own dharma, abandoning one's own duty and embracing that of another, enticed by ease and pleasure, are equally harmful. You are avoiding it to avoid some fight or displeasure. Vacillation of the mind is born of weakness. It depraves man more and more. Steadfastness to duty, on the other hand, strengthens a person and aids the building of character. Constancy is life and vacillation is death. Through firm devotion to duty, one gains in excellence. Arjuna was about to lose his manliness through a change of dharma. Even if he had lived a hermit's life as best as he could, his conscience would have been clouded, and that was the worse than death. He would have proved himself a coward if he had changed his dharma. Man should always evolve in the making up best suited to him. So that is the reason it is given, that you follow your nature. Now Arjuna puts this question clearly. Then, oh Krishna, why are you engaging me? You say that we are born by our instinct. If our instinct is this, then why are you engaging me that to do all the duties? Athakena, Arjuna vachu, athakena prajukto ayam, athakena prajukto ayam, papam charati purusha, papam charati purusha, anichan nopivarsneya, anichan nopivarsneya, balad ivo niyojito, balad ivo niyojito. Arjuna is putting this question, but dragged on by what? Does a man commit sin? Unwillingly though, constrained as it were by force. So why people commit sin then? Though he does not want, or one does not want, against their will, they are forced as it were. Why it is? Because the response is that we are in. Why people do negative things, negative actions, bad things? Because it is their weakness. What is the weakness? Kama. Kama means the desire. Desire for immediate gain, earthly gain, not looking at the permanent gain. What is the desire? Desire is God realization is also a desire. But to desire to gain some Duryodhana, he was trying to gain what? The kingdom. Is kingdom permanent? Is kingdom will bring permanent peace in his life? No. And he is doing all sinful activities, violating all the moral rules and code of conduct, etc. What is the propelling force here? That's why Sri Bhagavan says, it is desire that is the cause of all suffering. And desire prompts one to do right and wrong things. So, kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna, samudbhava. Kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna, samudbhava. Mahashano, mahapapma, mahashano, mahapapma. From the concept that I am limited, Vedanta comes there. All our desires drive us for petty things. Why? Because we think we are incomplete. So to complete, I need this. So it is desire, it is wrath begotten by the Rajaguna. Rajaguna puts us into action, and this desire drives them. All consuming, all sinful, all the Rajaguna produces all consuming ideas, and this is the enemy in spiritual growth, in the path of spirituality. Desire. So that means whole desire, free life is the freedom. Desire, who have more desire, he is bound. Bound person is one who has more desire, and free person is that who has no desire. How can be no desire? No desire is not possible. No desire is when one feels that I am fulfilled, I don't need anything. Then is the freedom. But so long I feel that I am incomplete, I will have to make me fulfilled by this earthly possession, land, kingdom, prosperity. Naturally they will run for the things of the world. But when one feels that I am full, that means desire free, then is the freedom. Holy Mother said, no, if you become desire free, then realization is here and now. Desire guides us in all types of action, right or wrong. When desire, prompted by desire, one does anything, what he is doing right or wrong is not the question. He will go on doing that. Evil, in knowing fully well it is bad, but he will do that. So desire is the cause. It is desire that is the cause. Kama esho. And when kama comes, krodha, anger comes, unfulfilled. Whenever I have desire, if the desire not fulfilled, next step is krodha, anger will come. And kama and krodha, they are all rajoguna. It springs from the raja quality, rajoguna. And they are most enemy to mahashana. It is all devouring. Mahapapma, it is all sinful. They know that this is. So two enemies in our life has been given by Bhagavan Krishna here, kama and krodha. And kama, where there is a desire, and the desire, unfulfilled desire, will create anger. And when anger, people get into anger, they forget their status, their understanding, their knowledge about themselves, who are they, what is their dignity. Then they behave totally in a lost manner. Kama, krodha, krodha. So one downfall goes on and on and on. So it has been mentioned also in another verse. Let me see, 2nd chapter, 65 verse, the reference is there. So 61 verse in the 2nd chapter, already we have read that what happens, now how the calm or desire brings us into the ruin. There has been step by step. So what it says, dhyayoto vishayan pungsha, that says brooding over the objects of the senses. What happens? One person develops attachment to them, day and night thinking it is good, it is good, it is good, and then get attached to that object. And from attachment comes the desire. Sangat sanjayate kama. Dhyayoto vishayan pungshan. Thinking of any material object or anything of the mundane world. It is good, it is good, it is good. Then we get attached to that. Dhyayoto vishayan pungsha. Brooding over the objects of the senses. We develop attachment. My mind clings to that object. And from attachment, then I need to get it for myself. Simple examples are there. Say, brooding over the object. Suppose a gross example. I need a nice car, Tesla car. So I am thinking of Tesla and say, oh, thinking of this car is good, 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 good. What happens? Then object of sense, we develop an attachment for that. And then attachment comes the desire to have it. From attachment comes desire. Sanjayate kama. When you associate with that object again and again, think it is good, it is good, it is good, then mind gets attached to that. And attachment then comes kama, desire to have it, possess it. And if you can get it easily, then you are happy. If we don't get it, then we are frustrated and we are depressed. And if there is somebody who can stops in my path of having that object, I get angry with that person, angry with that circumstances. So this is a downfall, step by step it takes us. So kamat krudho vijayate. From desire and anger comes, and krodhat bhavati sammoha, and from anger, and then people follow the path of delusion. And then sammohat smriti vibhrama. When the delusion comes, our memory gets confused. That what am I seeking? Is it so important? Is it a life and death question? People for mundane things also. When the anger comes, the people lose their sense and they say something, do something, they repent long afterwards. But at that mood, there is no way to get out of it because one leads to the other. So Gita says on the 263, chapter 263 verse, that from desire confused memory comes, and from confused memory the ruin of the reason, because there is no reason in people behave irrationally. There is no reasoning, and why it is so much? People start breaking the glasses, throwing the things in here and there, and destroying them with their own thing, which you'll have to replace it again. Purchase and go to the spend money and bring again those good things taken back, no? To repair the what is called the door, the broken door. So all things happen because he is not under his control. So kama, desire, association, clingingness brings one after one step down, and ultimately due to the ruin of reason, one is totally lost. So here is the same, kama esha. But they are all coming, this desire and this unfulfilled desire and this what is called the krodha, anger, these are all coming out of the raja quality, and these are most sinful thing, mahashano, mahapapma. It is all consuming, it consumes our whole heart and soul, and it is all sinful. No, that is the enemy to our spiritual growth. Then 38 verse. Dhumena abriyate banhi, dhumena abriyate banhi, jatha darsho malena cha, jatha adarsho malena cha, jatha ulvena abrito garbha, jatha ulvena abrito garbha, tatha tena idam abritam, tatha tena idam abritam. As fire is enveloped by smoke. There is fire, but on the surface we find that there is smoke, covered by smoke. As a mirror covered by dust, as an embryo is covered by the womb, so is the covered by that. That means this resplendent Atman is covered, because this resplendent Atman does not manifest to a angry person who is getting reactionary and who is losing his temperament and going down, losing the reason, and losing reason is totally lost his own dignity. So this is the step-by-step downfall. As fire is enveloped, resplendent Atman is veiled in desire, which is in the three grades corresponding to the predominance of the three gunas. So our Atman inside is covered with the pure sattvika quality. They are called saintly people, they are the seers of truth. Rajasa quality, anger, frustration, or all this negative effect, losing reason and spoiling them. And tamasa quality, totally covered, there is no light in them. So these three qualities covered, it is like a smoke covering the fire. It is like the mirror covered by dust. It is like an embryo covered by a womb. So similarly, this Atman is as if covered by this ignorance, and ignorance in the form of Raja quality, Tama quality and Sattvika quality. A little desire dominated by Sattva guna is like fire being choked in smoke. A little blowing will set it ablaze. That is Sattvika quality. With little nurturing, the spiritual wisdom will come up. But the smoke will disappear, and this discrimination likewise drives away the thin cloud of Sattvika desire and reveals Atman as it is. So we have a person who has a Sattvika covering over the Atman with little nurturing of spiritual practice and Vedanta analysis, the wisdom, knowledge of the Atman will come up, But Atman, in some effect, is required for a Sattvika person to remove the dust of the mirror. So, even Rajasika desire demands strenuous attempt for its removal. When it is Rajasika, you will have to work much more. Sattvika is much closer to the truth. Rajasika is much more covering is there. Anger, frustration, attachment, aversion, all these are tremendously strong there. So, one will have to work harder. Lastly, the Tamasika desire is compared with an embryo in the womb. Time and regulated living are the factors of the embryo to develop and be delivered as a baby. Time and self-preparations are necessary to eliminate the deep-rooted Tamasika desire. So, it says the three gunas have covered the Atman. So, in the Sattvika quality, people with little nurturing their knowledge, I am Atman, that knowledge will come up. For a Rajasika person, it needs little more work, selfless work and all other practices of devotion, etc. Strenuous attempt is necessary for the removal, and Tamasika takes longer time to work more, time and self-preparations. One should be knowing that what is covering my knowledge, and then we will have to work harder. So, every person lives in this different state of mind. Someone may be Tamasika, someone may be Sattvika, someone may be Rajasika. So, it is, but the Atman is the same behind all of us. To unveil that consciousness, Atman, we need to work hard. Sattvika people have already done much, they have to do little bit. Rajasika needs more to work on that. Tamasika will have to work longer and harder practice of spiritual disciplines. And what happens? 39 verse. When you get covered by ignorance, like the 38 verse said, that the enveloped fire is inside the fire, smoke is covering that. Similarly, Atman is covered. So now, Abritam Gyanametena, Abritam Gyanametena, Gyanina Nitta. Knowledge then is covered, then the constant enemy, this constant foe of the wise. Knowledge is covered by this insatiable fire of desire. Desire is the constant enemy of the wise people. So that's why always it is said, give up, give up, give up. Song of Sannyasis, give up, give up, give up. And Gita, and give up, give up, give up. Give up all attachment, give up all association, love me, love me, love me in the devotional term. So this entire few verses are talking about how to get out of desire. Desire higher things, not the desire petty things. So petty things desire, it is the action of the tamas quality or rajas quality. And sattvika quality is close to the Atman. So that is can be easily removed, that covering can be removed. But for tamas and rajas, it is avrita, covered, jnanam, this knowledge which is covered by this, it is this desire. They consider that it is our eternal enemy. Greatest enemy of a spiritual seeker is this desire. And desire, Ramakrishna said, why desire should be an obstacle? Give a turn towards that. Give the turn that desire towards God. So it is an obstacle will become favorable. Desire for mundane things, temporary things is a cause of suffering. But turn that same desire towards God realization, towards prayer and all this. I wish to attain eternal peace, eternal joy. That's also desire. That will turn it altogether. But for the person who wants wisdom and knowledge, for that person it is said, Jnanino Nitta Vairina. These are all the time enemy to a person of spiritual practice who are following the path of knowledge. They know this desire is a great obstacle. And Kamarupena Duspurena. Why? It is insatiable. You desire, you put little, okay, I like to have one desire fulfilled. You get it once, then your desire will increase tomorrow. You say, oh, it was good, I need little more. And third day it will go more. But there is no end of more and more. And then you get frustrated. So, duspureno, it cannot be fulfilled, it cannot be satiated. This desire, fulfilling the desire, giving the object what I desire for, if someone gets, that's why no one is satisfied. Someone is thinking that I am having in this financial condition, if I get this 1 million, it will be happy. Okay, let the person get 1 million, then what happens? It is not fulfilling. They will understand little more is better. Another, and go on, and this is insatiable, because it is the nature of the material object that that desire will be never be fulfilled. That's why it is said that Jajati said that statement, that he was the king and he enjoyed his whole life, one lifetime, but he became old. They wanted to enjoy more, and by God's grace who came and gave him blessing and said, yes, you can exchange your old age to a young person, then you can have the youth again back. Okay? And his son gave him the took the old age, and in exchange he took the old age, and father got the young body again. And then he enjoyed the kingly pleasures one life, and at the end he said, Najatu kamo upabhogino kaman kamo upabhogino sammati. By enjoying the sensate pleasure, that kamana, the desire, never gets satiated. It is like you are pouring some ghee or butter, clarified butter, into the fire, and you think that flame will be less. You have to reduce the flame, don't put more clarified butter or ghee into the fire. So that is his experience of life was that na jatu kaman kamo upabhogeno sammati. By enjoying the objects of the senses, this desire will not be satiated. Rather it increases, bhuyo evo adhivardhat, as the fire will be kindled more and more as much as you put the desire into it. Therefore, the whole spiritual life, Gyanis don't think that fulfillment of the worldly desire is any peace will come. So they think this is the enemy in their life. So knowledge is covered, O son of Kunti, by this insatiable fire of desire, the constant enemy of the wise. Wise people's constant enemy is the desire, and desire cannot be fulfilled, and it increases with the journey outside. So desire grown to the stature of greed is a destructive force and an enemy to all human beings, but the ignorant among them who come under the sway hold it as helpful friend. The ignorant people run for this fulfilling the desire, and they ultimately find frustration. So whenever a setback and humiliation ensues from it, the destructive force of desire is momentarily detested as a treacherous factor in the makeup of a man. But this feeling vanishes as quickly as it dawns. So sometimes we get to fulfill the desire and we did it and we get a blow, and then people think, oh, it is not good. But that does not stay. It runs away quickly. But this feeling vanishes quickly as it comes. So the unwary, ignorant choose to ally with it always. So that those who are ignorant people, they always make a friendship with the fulfillment of desire, go one into another. That's why we suffer so much. The addiction comes. Actually, using the same thing. See, those who go for medical purpose, little marijuana or something, and they say little, they start, and they get into it, and they become addicted afterwards. Anything in this world, and ultimately you want to come out of that addiction, but they cannot do that. So you become a victim of that. So that example, The unwary, ignorant choose to ally with it, means this desire fulfillment. But the cause of the knowing man is different. Both while under the influence of desire and while holding it in abeyance, the wise man views it as his sworn enemy. So he looks upon that as an enemy. That means he does not make friendship with this path of fulfilling these mundane things. He likes no alliance with it. Still, in spite of him, it steals into the heart, assuming innumerable forms and trying to allure the person. It is therefore the constant enemy of the wise. So wise people always understands this and thinks that this is not a friend. So we should have to work with the desire. Either you turn it in the right direction or get away of it. So get away is not possible. Better way to turn it towards God. Okay, we end here. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. So what we talked about, only talking about the desire and fulfillment of desire and how it brings us ruin and how it brings us frustration. But wise person will always take this stand that this fulfilling of desire is not the way to salvation, rather it brings us bondage and suffering. Therefore, either turn it towards God or be away from it. So whatever the capacity.